This is Drew Wash here, Domain to Profit, and we are going to go through some expiring domain names looking for opportunities that we can share in, right? I hope. I'm not going to selfishly take them all for myself. I don't think. I haven't looked at the list yet. So, well, if you're not familiar with Domain to Profit, this is a live show with a great community that joins us over on YouTube in the chat. So make sure that you're checking us out there. Subscribe, like the video, and join us live if you're watching this on Restream, because live is the best way to consume the show. So what we do is we look through expiring domain names. Hundreds of thousands of domain names are going to expire this week. This week, people's hopes and dreams, they set out and they got some domain name, some good, many of them not so good, and they were going to build something great on it, and they just, life got in the way or whatever it is. We all know how it is. I have many, many domain names sitting in my portfolio that show that I know how it is, that I'm not able to get everything done that I want to. But here we are, still looking through all these expiring domain names, looking for the next opportunity, the one domain name that we can build and truly just create a life for ourselves that we dream about. Because yes, it can happen. Not only do I look through expiring domain names looking for opportunities for the future, I've used domain names and expiring domain names to build my existing life, which is phenomenal. I live a very lucky, blessed life, all thanks to domain names. And I come here each Monday at 3 p.m. to hopefully just pass a little bit of that luck, a little bit of the things that I've had onto you by looking through the expired domain. So make sure you say hi in the chat. Let everybody know you're here. And I will see you on the other side of this.
From domain to profit, from a .com to a business idea. Take a domain name, develop an income from domain to profit. We'll show you how. Domain to profit, from domain to profit. Join Drew Wash and get started right now.
Okay, no clean break coming out of that, but hey, it is what it is. It's okay. It's okay. Well, by clean break, I mean the audio cuts off instead of fades. I'll work on that at some point. Not too terribly important. But Matt saying hi, I appreciate it. Nice to see you here, Matt. He always keeps me honest if I'm late, especially. And I'm sure that many of our regulars will be trickling in here as we get going. You know how these live things go. It's like, running errands, doing things. I'm the only one that's expected to be on time. But okay. Well, and Ian, nice to see you as well. Thanks for popping in, and hello indeed. Well, each week we look through expiring domain names. The community is here to both look for opportunities with us, to harass me, but then also find some amazing opportunities. So we will look through expiring domains, find good ones, hopefully, some good, some bad, and we will look at business opportunities for those domains. Like, how would we make money off of it? How would I make money off of it if I was to buy that domain name and develop it? And then later on in the show, I'm also going to give a little bit of update. A couple of domain names that I've both purchased and not purchased over the last few weeks. We'll be diving into my GoDaddy auctions account and looking around just to see what has been missed and what was purchased. I'll be sharing that out, and of course, how much I paid for them. So always good stuff. Lee joining us from across the pond. Howdy, Lee. Nice to have you here as well. And a first-timer here, Matt, thanks for joining us live. We appreciate it. And yeah, the playbacks, hopefully you find exactly what I say all the time, which is watching it live is the better way to do it, because you get all these peeps in the chat room with us, which I know many of you, both from Twitter and else. And I can tell you, we got a lot of great people that join us here as well. El Couch, howdy, and all for sure. And Coaster G, off to grab the boys, be back soon. Yep, see, running errands. I get it. We can't all have 3 p.m. completely clean. And send an email to me. Okay, I'll check that out. Hopefully it's not something I need to read during the show, because my email computer is upstairs. It's not here with me. So So where are we going to start off at? We're going to go over to here. This is expireddomains.net. This is the free resource that we use to, look through expired domains. Expireddomains.net, which you can see up in the URL up there, it is a tool that's been put together graciously. Like, I'm guessing I think a guy named Marco, I believe, is who put it together. He probably built it for himself, and he was nice enough to share it with us. And essentially what expireddomains.net does is it gathers all the expiring domain names from all these different companies, GoDaddy and many, many others, pulls them into one place, and it's free. That's one of the key pieces. And the only way they make money from expiringdomains.net is when we click the links and go to the site. When we do that, it's an affiliate link, and we reward them for their efforts. So please do that. I encourage you to click those links. It costs you nothing to pass that affiliate commission on to them. So this expireddomains.net, you do need to set up a free account to use it. You can look through it and search it without, but to use filters, you do need to have a free account. And if you want to make yours the nice dark background like mine versus the light background, which it is by default, you also need to have that free account. So once you're set up, we're going to go here to the marketplace domains and then down to GoDaddy, expired domain auctions. Now, last week I mentioned I'm going to record the filters, and I want to put it down so that way we don't have to spend a couple minutes on it each week. We'll just be able to refer off to a video that will show you this. But for the sake of this video, I'm going to go ahead and do it one more time. Hopefully we can record it in such a way that I can edit it out and use in the future. So keep me honest. Hopefully it goes well. Here we go. Here on expireddomains.net, one of the most powerful things that it provides for us is the way to filter through hundreds of thousands of domain names. And what you can see here, specifically today, we have 453,000 domain names that we're going to be filtering down through. And to filter, we go right over here to show filters. And we've already set up our free account to be able to have access to filters. Otherwise, it's going to prompt you to set up a free account as of that point. We get rid of numbers. There's no need for numbers. Numbers, yeah, if you want to get a domain name with a number in it, fine. Go grab it. But for the sake of this show, where we look specifically for premium domain names that have great opportunities to develop a business on them, numbers have no place in what we do, as well as hyphens. We get rid of those as well. Then we're going to scroll down to this up here, which is we want to look for English words, 1 to 3 words. We cap it off at 3 words, and you will find, yes, there are domains that are great that are 4 or 5 words, but what ends up happening is it adds so many poor domain names. It really takes a long time to look through them, and 99.9% of the domains we look for are 3 words or less. So experience tells us 3 words or less is what we're looking for there. Then over here, for the sake of this show, where we look through this week's expiring domains, we only want the auctions that are going to end within the next 7 days. That's a completely optional filter that you can use. And then finally, we need to go to this other tab that's over here, the additional tab. For whatever reason, .com is to filter by that is over there on that tab. And we want to do .com. So essentially, to summarize, we have gotten rid of numbers. We've gotten rid of hyphens. We've made it to where it's only 1 to 3 actual English words that we're looking for. And then we're only looking for .com. Can you develop on any other domain name extension like a .net, .org, .io? Absolutely. You can build on any domain name that you want to. But for the sake of this show, we concentrate on .com. Why? Because if you build something great on a .net, a .org, a .io, you're always going to be wishing that you had a .com, and you're always going to want that premium, that top-notch domain. So we just start with that for the sake of this show. So those are the filters that we have set up for domain to profit. Hopefully you were able to follow along with that. Let's get to some domains. Excuse me. Too quick talking there. Got to remember to breathe. Now we'll be doing the show with tears in our eyes. Okay, let me just check out. Couch is asking, is it the same select-only characters? Is it the same to select-only characters? No. Okay, I see what you're saying. So on the filter there, specifically, no characters would be looking for, I believe, only specialized characters. So it would be looking for numbers only. There are people that invest in number-only domain names. Not me, though. I don't. A lot of times it's Asia. Asia does a lot of number stuff because of the way their keyboards work, is what I was told. Plus, a lot of numbers are considered lucky. Not my thing, but if it's your thing, go for it. Not everybody has to do exactly like Drew. Realistically, when we do different things, that's where you're going to find the best opportunities for yourself. So here we are. We took it down from that 450-some thousand domain names down to just over 8,000 domain names, 80,000 domain names. So still quite a lot that we have to go through. But what that does is it really allows us to start to focus on the domain names that are best for development. Development is what we're after. We don't want to just get domain names to stick them in the back of our portfolio to let them sit there forever so we can lock them down. Instead, we, on this show specifically, in this community, we buy to develop. We want to find those domain names, and the domain name will paint a picture in our minds of what should be on it. And then as domain developers, all we're out to do is just paint the picture. We're just out to color by number, if you will. Like, what is it that's supposed to be on that domain name? Then we build it. It's nice and easy. And the nice thing is what we build, we look for the way to monetize and generate revenue from. And in turn, we can take a towing.com, which is one of our top sites, or our top site. Towing.com, you expect to find towing related stuff and towing companies on it. We just did that. We just said, okay, towing.com, here you go. Here's what's on it. And it makes many, many millions for us. Yes, that's millions we have made from that domain name. Very simple development. I have nothing to do with towing other than the domain names we purchased. So there you go. That's what we're after. So this is the list that we have. We order this list by this over here, the valuation. I just clicked on it, so it's going to order it. And what you can see here is valuation is GoDaddy's magical number that they pull out of the air using some data to determine whether they think that domain name is worth something. The number's practically fiction. It is just a guess. It's a guess, So they're just looking at the different keywords of the domain name, using some of the same data and tools that we use in past sales data, and they just guess at how much that domain name's worth. You'll find that the domain names pretty much never sell for that amount. They either sell for more or less, and it's really helpful for us to order by that, is really what it comes down to. When you're looking at 80,000 plus domain names, it's going to be important to really start with the best ones on top, because realistically on this show, we're going to get to what? Maybe 600 domain names. So here we go. Let me zoom in. Auto accessories. So the top one, valuation-wise, which we saw over here, had a valuation of close to $20,000. Autoaccessories.com. I don't even like the domain name that much. I would never pay $20,000 for it. But what we will do is we will analyze the domain name using SpyFu. So this is one of the tools. It's free to you. This is one of the tools that we use to analyze domain names. And we just use the free account, which is why I use SpyFu versus other tools that I even pay for, because the data that we have here, we can use expiring domains or expireddomains.net, a free tool. We can use SpyFu, a free tool, and better get an understanding of the domain names that we're looking at. Wow, I'm really talking fast today. I'll take a chill pill. Okay. So here you go. Here is autoaccessories.com. So we are looking at the keywords. So what you saw that we did there was we took autoaccessories.com and we broke it apart into the keywords and placed it into SpyFu. And this now shows us the data behind that keyword. 1,800 monthly searches are available, an estimated 1,100 clicks are available in the search engines if you rank well in Google. That's the power behind this domain name is what we're going for. Over here, so let me scroll down a little bit and look at these numbers down here, which if you watch the show, you know that I come down here all the time. These are the key numbers, mostly because they allow us to start to get an idea of competition related to this domain name and the value of the domain name. This right here, here's the competition. There's 13 advertisers currently paying. They're paying good, hard-earned money to target the keyword auto accessories. So right there, those are going to be our future customers if we were to buy this domain name. And then right here, cost per click is $1.10. That's the cost per click. So they're paying in those Google ads, when somebody clicks on them, on average, they're paying $1.10 to reach this keyword. So that tells us there's some pretty high competition because right, the ads only show like 2, 3, maybe 4 people at the top. That means every time somebody searches for this keyword, 9 people are left out or they're buried on other pages. So there's a lot of competition paying good money for this. And that means opportunity for us as domain developers, because if you were to call those 13 companies up, you call them up and you're like, hey, Mr. Advertiser targeting auto accessories keywords, we own autoaccessories.com and we'd love to feature your company on it. Pay us $100, $200 a month and we'll put a big featured profile up on the site. And essentially, voila, that's the play. A couple $100 a month, or you get numerous companies to do it and a couple $1,000 a month. Or I don't know how this would work. I love seeing near me. You'll hear me talk about this. When you see near me in the keywords, what that is saying is people are trying to localize that data. They're trying to look for stuff near them in a certain mile radius, like 50, 100 mile radius, which means that we can not only just target the national companies, we can target the local companies that sell auto accessories. So now instead of targeting 2, 3, half a dozen national companies, we can instead target local companies. So one in Cincinnati, one in San Diego, one in San Francisco, one in Houston, Texas, one in Chicago, like one per city, get them to pay $20, $50, $100 a month to be featured in their local area. And now that also opens us up to another 4,900 visitors to our site. But most importantly, 300 cities, as we talk about on the show, 300 cities in the U.S. have over 100,000 population in them, meaning you just need to go after the top 300 cities to get your first 300 local customers. And there you go, 300 local customers. Even at $10 a pop, you're talking about $3,000 a month just by localizing that data. So I love seeing near me. I don't like this keyword specifically just because it sounds like a product. It sounds like they're selling a product, and I avoid products. However, the localization means people are looking for people that sell products. So you can provide a directory of the places they can find auto accessories. There's probably some play there, except for I'm guessing it's going for some big money. Let's check it out. Yeah, you'll see here it's already up over $4,000 or $5,000. We'll pull this up here. So yep, right over there, $5,000. And this ends in 2 days over on GoDaddy Auctions. And once again, when we click that, it's going to pull up the affiliate link and things for our partners, not partners, our friends over at expireddomains.net that provide that for us. So there you go, autoaccessories.com. If you're wanting to spend some big money, go for that domain name. Now, I think we're going to find better. I don't like that domain name, especially over $5,000. If you can get it for a couple thousand, it'd be one thing, but at $5,000, I think we're going to find better ones. If not this week, other weeks for sure. So, well, we'll continue on down the chart here. Okay, so just back to the filters. It appears that there is a setting for only characters, which does get rid of hyphens and numbers. So one less click if you want to use that as well. Then let me see. Simply, you've got another person coming in to say hi to them. Simply CQ60, and they're asking, as a part-time domainer, do I use the same filter to buy domains or resell later? Well, simply, just so you know, here on Domain to Profit, we specifically concentrate on domain names for the purpose of developing. So yes, you can buy and sell later, but ideally, what I'm trying to do is take you as a domain developer or a domain, reseller, and encouraging you to look for that specific domain name that would be great for development. Like, oh, somebody could do this with that domain name, right? Somebody could build something on this. Instead of somebody, I can build something on this domain name is what I'm trying to accomplish, is helping you see that you can indeed develop the domain name instead of selling something for a couple $1,000s. I want you to be able to make a couple $1,000s a month for like ever on that domain name. Everything we do, like towing.com, it's monthly reoccurring. Can I sell the domain name for hundreds of thousands, maybe even $1 million? Sure. But would I give up the monthly revenue I make off of it to do that? Absolutely not. Like it's just too good of a gig, and that's the gig that I'm encouraging each person that views this show to do. Look for these domains, not just as a domain name that you can buy and sell to somebody for more money, but instead looking to create. Just look for that one domain name, the perfect domain name that goes with your passion. Don't be a knucklehead like me that buys way too many domain names and can't get them all developed. Although I do have we're working on a solution for that. Wholesale distributors, I'm guessing there's some good keyword volume around that. Let's see what it's going for. Praise 9,600, currently at $1,200. I'm going to skip over that. I want to get past some of these high-priced ones. Armcandy.com, I love it as a popular phrase. Currently $5,300, so that's going to be going for some big money. Again, like, can you build something on it? Sure, but what does arm candy sound like? It sounds like attractive woman or on your arm. It's the phrase arm candy. What are you going to do with that? Dating site? Kind of bored. I don't know. There's so many of those out there, but they wouldn't own arm candy. The person that owns it would be the first one to own it. So that's good. Okay, well, let me just use this one here, women's empowerment. That's a pretty good example of a middle S. Woman empowerment. We'll just skip over it. I'm just going to warn, middle S's often are a trap. You do not want a middle S. You do not want a plural word at the first word very often. Sometimes you can, but the general rule of thumb is make 100% sure it makes sense with the middle S. Don't be like me and buy like toys with an S storage.com, toys storage. It kind of makes sense, but it kills the domain name. Security tracker. What would you picture on securitytracker.com? Security tracker. I'm not sure. They do sell a lot of those little like GPS devices that will track and things like that. I'm not really sure what that would be, so I'm going to keep going on that. The domain names that always come to the top of my list are the ones that allow us to localize the money. We want to localize stuff. Like towing, when you search that site, you're finding local towing companies. The idea of getting your first 300 customers, just, that's it. Find 300 customers. How many stores you think sell auto accessories in, Houston, Texas, or San Francisco? I mean, dozens, right? Dozens, if not hundreds. And you need one of them in every major city. One store to kind of step up to be the featured one in that area, and you would have your first 300 customers. Like you want the odds, you want those numbers to be in your favor. That's what we're after, and that's really all it takes. 300 people that love your site, that see the value in it, and that are willing to pay you some small amount of money to see, because they see the value of that domain name and what you're developing. Analytics company. I don't know. What do you think? Analytics company? Let's type it in the SpyFu. I'm going to copy and paste it. Now, this does have a middle S. Analytics company. I don't know. I think that middle S kind of makes sense with this one. So you'll see what I'm doing here. Just copy and pasting the domain name, getting rid of the .com. So now we're just looking at the keyword. Sometimes I'm surprised by what I find. Like last week, remember waitsforsale.com? That's one of the ones I bought. I'll share what I purchased that one for later on in the show. But waits for sale, I typed it in. I didn't expect much. Just was like, let's see what it is. And it was like freaking thousands of people searching for it. I was like a little shocked. And ended up getting a bargain on it too. Okay, 180 searches. This one is not, we're not grabbing that much. So we look for this number here first. That shows us the exact searches for that keyword. Then we look over here to get an idea of how our keywords, analytics company, is used inside of other keywords. So you'll see here, data analytics companies. So companies is plural, IES, so that's going to be a difference from our domain name. But then they're adding data. We like it when they add a word at the beginning, add a word at the end, because essentially that is saying, hey, you have a great domain name for this, and there's an opportunity to bring in more traffic. So you're going to have the short domain name. You just add a page about data analytics companies, and you can target that extra 1,000 companies here. Analytics companies near me. 900 searches. I do like the localization on it. I don't know how that would necessarily work. That's a kind of a small number. So similar keywords allow us to know what other keywords we might be able to pull traffic from or target specific content on our site for them. And then over here with questions, if you're like me, you're not an analytics company. You've never ran one. You have no idea what you're going to put on your site. If you were to pay hundreds or thousands of dollars for analyticscompany.com, what would you put on that domain name? What content? Well, over here, we use these questions to kind of get an idea of the content that would be on it, or get the questions that if we answer them well, we can generate additional traffic. So let's see, by utilizing business analytics, a company can learn which one of the following. Somebody's Googling a test answer. You see that? By utilizing business analytics, a company can learn which one of the following. That's seriously off some kind of test. How much is the cost of companies and entrepreneurs using Google Analytics calculated? That one is, see, you answered this question. If you answer these questions, now Google's going to allow that traffic to possibly make it over to you. Okay, so that's how we use these questions over here. And all this data here can sometimes provide some helpful information to guide traffic. Okay, I'm going to pass on analytics company here, but I will open it up so we can summarize that later. Analytics company, currently $25, 2 days left on that. Because it's low, I would say if you're interested in that domain name, wait until about 5 minutes and 10 seconds left in that auction before you bid. It's always a strategy we go for. Last minute, put your max proxy bid in. We'll see. We might have an opportunity to talk about that more here in a little bit. About 30 minutes in, let me pop over to chat and see what all I have going on here. And this is one I would encourage you simply here. You're asking specifically, how do you create this stuff, right? How do you freaking do it? For me, back in the day, I taught myself to program. I Googled the crap out of it and learned ways to build the site myself. I am a huge fan of encouraging you to become a developer. Not like you don't have to be an expert at it, just enough to build the site out at first yourself. If you have a bunch of money sitting in the bank, yes, you can pay developers to do it. But I'm a big fan of DIY. I mean, nowadays, of course, I don't touch code. I have developers that do it for me. I can still code, but that's how I got started. I know the inner workings of my stuff now. So another option is, I think probably 6 months ago, we did a show on no code options. And if you Google this, just do a search for no code website development, you'll find that there's lots of tools out there nowadays that allow you to quickly develop an app or a website without code. It's drag and drop. You can use databases and do all kinds of nice, easy features without being a developer. We also build a lot of websites, even internally. We use leadpages.com. They allow you to do some drag and drop content only websites, which you can use those as well. So leadpages.com, it's a little more of an expensive site, but we can make a dozen sites without actually doing any code. It keeps it nice and simple. So that might be an option for you as well. And if you look on domain-to-profit.com or dtp.tv, domain-to-profit.com, there is a link for tools. And under that page, we have a lot of the tools that we both use here on the show, as well as some of those no-code options. And there are affiliate links, so you can support the show a little bit if you use them. So hopefully that's helpful for you. And yep, I appreciate it, Matt, and everybody in the chat for helping everybody out. That is the thing, is even if I don't get it, I can always count on everybody here to just have such great information. A lot of times after the show, I will look back to the chat and see the things that I missed. And you guys you're so awesome. I appreciate you. And yeah, here you go. Udemy offers online courses and development, often on sale. So there you go. I cannot encourage you enough to become a little bit of a developer. Like, it's such a good skill. I highly encourage my sons, daughters, all to learn at least some code. It's the language of the world anymore. You can't go wrong knowing some of it. So back to domains. Service contracts. I don't know what that, let's see if this one has anything. I'm clicking on the domain names, trying to make sure that, so this one ends in 6 or 5 days, 4 days, 22 hours. Service contracts, a lot of times I look for phrases that I've seen before. So, for example, up higher on the list, we saw arm candy. I've heard that phrase, right? I've heard people referring to attractive women as arm candy. So it's kind of like it's nice to kind of think about those common phrases. Service contracts, or a lot of times services, like you can get a service contract on appliances and things, and basically they will come out and service that item if it breaks down. But that's as much as I know about them. I know there's all kinds of service contracts for commercial type stuff. So like if you have refrigeration or freezers, well, if that stuff breaks, you're not going to get into it and try to fix it yourself. You typically hire a company to have a service contract to where you call them up and they come out and take care of it as quickly as possible. It's a service contract. So contract services, service contract, 1,700 searches for that. Plural it's a little, typically I like plural. In this case, I don't know if I really like it. I prefer service contract, but plural does give us an opportunity to enter this industry. What is a service contract? Certainly something you'd want to answer on your website. Scroll down here a little bit. I love seeing double digits. So we can see that right here, 11 companies that are paying to advertise for this. But even more than that, look at this. I love seeing $2 or more in that cost per click. This one's $7.30. So there's people paying some big money for this. And I can tell you from my little bit of knowledge about the service contract industry, there's some big money in it. Because essentially with service contracts, you have a monthly fee that you pay a service company, and they're responsible for being on call if you need them for something for your business. So a lot of small businesses and large businesses have them. So let's check this out. Let me see, we're in SpyFu. $7. That one ends in 5 days, currently $127. I don't know. I like that one. I'm going to add it to my watch list. So what does that mean? Drew's adding it to his watch list. Well, I highly recommend that you don't be these people that have bid this up to $127 currently. So what has happened is, if you look over here, there's 3 bidders, and they're already going to war with each other. Look at this: 3 bidders, 24 bids, and they think that they're just bidding against these other 3 people. They think that that 3 people are, they're competing against those other 2 people. They're not. What is happening is they are actually bringing in additional people. They're bringing in people like me that are using expired domains. And a lot of times, last minute, what do? We go and we look to see which domains are most active, and we sometimes miss things. And then when we see all these bids happening on a domain name like this, if we didn't see it in the list, then we see all that activity, and now we're active in it. You want to wait until 5 minutes and 10 seconds on that auction and put in your max proxy bid. That is the strategy I highly recommend. Otherwise, you're going to be advertising this domain name to an entire industry of people like me that watch for domain names to purchase. And if you are bidding on a domain name too early, all you're doing is yelling out into the world to thousands of people with deep pockets, come look at this domain name, it might be worth buying. Don't do that. Don't do that. It's not going to be good for you. It might benefit me. You might be showing me a domain name that I didn't know about prior to, but you want to wait till 5 minutes. Why 5 minutes? Auctions are extended by 5 minutes whenever a bid is placed in the last 5 minutes. So by waiting until like 5 minutes and 5 seconds to put in your max proxy bid, what happens is you erase everyone else's bid. You go to your max dollar, and then they have only 5 minutes to respond. They're either active in that auction or they're going to miss out, which is what we hope for. And we see that pretty frequently. Yeah, exactly. So this is So here Nirja is referring to huge domains. That is a bot. So that is the strategy they use for their bot. They have automation for that. Why do they do that? It's the best possible strategy. You don't want to show your hand. If you do it too early, you're going to bring in people to your auction, and you don't want to do that. You want to wait as long as possible. So, and Alvin, nice to have you here, buddy. Alvin is another domain developer, does some great stuff, as well as a podcast, which I highly recommend you check him out on Twitter. But he's mentioning a couple of theme websites and turnkey options out there as well. And yes, there are. There's like WordPress. There's all kinds of ways that you can just like start a website. I know nothing about WordPress though. So, but Alvin's there. You could reach out to him on Twitter. He can possibly give you some resources. I'm sure he has some good blog options for it. Okay. Well, thanks for everybody in the chat. I appreciate that. Keep it coming. Keep it coming. And now back to some domain names. So we were looking at servicecontracts.com. I do like that domain name, adding it to my watch list. I probably won't hit 4 figures on that one. I'm probably more in it's not my ideal industry. So if I went for service contracts, I'd probably be in the 800 range, just to give it an idea. And if you want the domain name, I encourage you, I don't need more domain names. I refuse to let domain names go to like others if it's going for too little. And something like that I can buy and maybe develop sometime in the future. Long story short, reach out to me on Twitter. Let me know if it's something you're going to go after. There's no need to, I'll just hold off on it. But, that's why I let you know the approximate amount that I would bid on it. I'd rather you have it. Even if you're going to bid less than me, I would rather somebody that's going to develop it have the domain name. Well, there we go. Data jockey. I love that term. Isn't that like a slang for somebody that deals with data? I think it is. Let's see if there's any search volume. So when it comes to like something like this, like data jockey. Oh my goodness, what am I doing here? Okay. Data jockey, I believe, would be somebody that does those analytics like we saw earlier. This would be something that you would buy for more of a content play. You'll see there's really nobody advertising for it, no money involved in it, very little searches for it. But a lot of people like me know data jockey it's kind of a slang thing we say for people that do a lot of data analysis. And if you do and work in data analysis, what a great domain name for a blog. That's realistically what I would leave that one as. It's a good one for a blog. And if you want to go that's the content route. There's numerous ways to monetize a domain name, one of which is the content method. Alvin, who I just mentioned about, I'm sure that's how he monetizes things. He does blogs and podcasts. He creates that content, and then advertisers and things are how he monetizes that content. So he needs lots of eyeballs in a brand to make his money, which is a great way to do it, especially if you have a passion for data, for example, with this domain name. Lots of ways to make money on the internet. Way more ways to make money than a lot of ways to lose money too. But I have a filing cabinet of ways to make money, and realistically, I don't deal with most of them. You got to pick and choose your battles. How are you going to allocate your time? I choose to allocate my time for a very specific business model, monthly reoccurring membership websites, sites that share a great domain name with a community that is interested in that domain name. I'm not out to be the expert of any one specific industry. Instead, I want to help the experts use a premium domain name to benefit their industry. That makes sense? I think it makes sense. Try to pick it up. I think we're not even 200 domains in yet. So we always find some good ones right there at the top, right? It kind of slows down as we get further down. It occurred to me last week, one of the things I don't think I've ever shared. So that appraised value over here. So on the first page, we saw the top was $20,000 value. And then it gets lower and lower as we go down the list. I often will go down to about $1,600 in appraised value. You can find great domain names even in that range, even less than that range. Google or GoDaddy does not get it right all the time. Well, they never get it exactly right. Seldom do they ever get it right. But what that number does is $1,200. I find great domains for that range all the time, especially when we filtered, like we showed you at the beginning of the show. Those filters help you. Every domain you see is going to be multiple words. The question is, are they going to be in an order that is helpful, an order that is valuable? Okay, we'll let this go down. We might make it give or take a couple page downs, and then I'm going to go over to my GoDaddy account. I want to share with you some of the domain names I purchased and missed out on, as well as get you the prices that either I paid or we can look at the prices that other people paid to get some of these domains. You might be out there wondering, like, hey, how much do these domains go for? Well, sometimes they go for a whole heck of a lot of money. Other times you'd be shocked with how cheap they go. You got to be patient. Dog stores, is that a thing? Everybody says pet stores, I think. I mean, I won't look at it, but dog stores, if that's a thing, like we own Dog Groomer, dagnabbit. Let's type it into SpyFu. Every time I start to question myself, it means I need to go to the data. I don't think anybody says dogs every freaking time. Every time. I didn't think dog stores was a thing. Evidently it is. Oh my freaking goodness. This is good. This is good stuff. Look at this. So back to what I was saying, this was appraised at $2,400. So GoDaddy's completely missing the value of this. Let's click on it and we'll go back over to SpyFu. So we have dogstores.com, $45 currently, ending in 4 days. Again, we don't want to draw attention to this domain name. It might possibly fly under the radar a little bit. But based on this, $3,900 monthly volume, 3,200 estimated clicks. Look at this, dog stores near me. We do see localization with some big numbers under it, right? 28,000 people search for dog stores near me, dog store near me, 18,000. Like, come on, really? It's right here. Like, come on, 28,000. Those are big numbers that we can target with this domain name. Only 5 advertisers. You got to avoid the puppy mills, but there's people advertising for it. These numbers are a little lower here, but these numbers are low. These numbers over here are pretty low, but the numbers up above are really high. So it kind of counterbalances off. I could see this domain name easily going for, it could go as high as $6,000. It could always go for more than that even. I could see it going for $6,000. I would probably max out on this one. Me personally, I don't like the domain name. It doesn't sit well with me. Nobody says dog stores. They may type it in, but they don't say it. I'm probably stuck in the $1,200, $1,900 range if I was to bid on this. I'm going to star it. I'm going to add it to my watch list. I may participate in dogstores.com. So, I don't know. See, a shocker, right? I was going to pass up on that domain name. I was going to go right by it. And instead, we find a domain name with thousands and thousands of people searching for it. I love it. This is why we do this. It's what we train for, people. Okay, I see I'm checking in on chat and seeing that Matt's helping some people out with trademark searches. I'm sure somebody out there could. Somebody was mentioning that data jockey was a trademark search. Who knows what a data jockey is? When it comes to trademarks, it's really important that you not target the industry of that trademark. So the best way to say it is contact an attorney. If anything else, you can search for trademarks though using the U.S. PTO, I believe. Yeah, there we go. Thank you, Niraj. I'm sorry if I'm saying it wrong, but Niraj. It mentioned that the USPTO.gov. So if you just search for that or trademark search, there should be a .gov or a .us.gov site, and it's called TESS, and it's trademark and something search, but it's free. You can go do a basic search, and you just wouldn't want to spend a bunch of money unless you've kind of consulted an attorney or really know trademarks pretty well. I'm not here to necessarily go over trademarks, and that is one of the things that you can get caught in when you play with those content type domain names like data jockey, is they can be trademarked. Where when we play with generic domain names like dog stores, yes, somebody can try to trademark that, but realistically, that trademark's going to be pretty weak. It's a generic term. So buy shrooms online. I know some people that might be interested in that one. Let's see. Okay, my keyboard. Here we go. Okay, well, we're about down to 10 minutes. I'm going to give it one more page down. Let's see if we find something great. If I've passed up on a domain name and you have overreaction.com, like what in the world? It always shocks me when, overreaction is. Low keyword volume. This one would be probably more of a marketing play or a resell play or a blog content play. Overreaction being a one-word key, dictionary term. Absolutely buried here over on this. GoDaddy is appraising this bad boy at $2,300. I would definitely say it's going to go for more than that. Mostly because overreaction, right? It sounds like a marketing. It creates an emotional response in you when you hear it. That ends tomorrow. Tomorrow earlier than the show. So check it out. Possibly if you're looking for just kind of an investable domain name. And with that, I think we will call it quits on that. We're going to go over to I'm going to open up my GoDaddy domain portfolio. So I'm going to just show you around. This is all live data. I don't really ever hide anything. And we're going to look at my bidding. I don't know what I have bidding. Yeah, I don't think I have any bids. But what I want to show you is especially what I've purchased. Reservation systems. We saw that one a couple weeks ago. I got that one for $11.50. That's probably about what that one was worth. I don't feel like that was necessarily any kind of great deal. Last week on the show, I mentioned authorizedpartners.com. That one is more of a play along the lines of authorized partners, a phrase that you hear companies toss around occasionally. If you can centralize that in some way, I don't 100% know, but what it was, nobody bid on the domain name. I actually got this one as a closeout domain name. So what happens is domain name goes up for auction. If no one bids on it whatsoever, it goes to a closeout, and then you can buy it. So it starts off, I think this one started off at $50, and then I let it get down to $30, and nobody bought it. So I got it at $30 for authorizedpartners.com. So there you go. It can definitely happen. Everybody, I hear all the time, people like, the best domains, every domain I look at is always like gets bid up, and you're looking at only the best domain names is what's happening. Authorized Partners is a good domain name. Waits for sale. I think I got a steal on this one. I think my max bid for waits for sale, I think I had it in at $880 some or something like that. Got it for $331. And if you recall from last week when we did that, toss that into SpyFu, waits for sale. It will shock you. The domain name was, the keywords are great, and it makes sense the more we talked about it on the show, the idea that, nobody's shipping weights, right? Nobody wants to ship 100-pound weights. It's like inefficient. The logistics or the restriction when it comes to weights for sale. So localization of that data is really important. It was weights for sale near me. So that one fit my business model. So I went for it and got it. $331. And again, I had in a bid of 800 some dollars. I don't know if it shows it here. Let's see. No, I put my bid in at $688. Got it for $331. I would have paid more than that though. So there we go. Let's see some of the ones I did not win. Last week, I did not win commercial drivers. I believe I bid that one up to, I think, $11.88. I kind of wanted to go even higher than that. I think somebody got a good deal on it. I think $12.95 is pretty good for that domain name. Then it looks like a week back or so, incomecoach.com. I was out early on that one. I valued that one, I think, a couple $100. Somebody got that one. A good one for blogs. A good one for somebody that's setting themselves up as an income coach or a small business coach. Great for that, right? Who wouldn't want to do business with the income coach? And how do you know if they're any good? Well, he literally has incomecoach.com, whoever that is. I'm guessing, I don't know who has it. Coffee suppliers, I like that one as well. I was out, let's see if it shows my bid. I was up to 1607 on that one. I really liked it. Loved the localization of the domain name. By that localization, meaning there's a lot of local vendors and things that are buying and selling coffee supplies. But I lost out on it. Hopefully it's in the hands of a developer. 1632 for that one. Hold Your Own, I was out early, and let's see. Now we're getting pretty far back. There we go. And the ones we added to our watch list, I have Arm Candy tossed in here, Overreaction. Just added that one on the show today. Dogstores.com, servicecontracts.com. If any of those are something you're bidding on, going after aggressively, feel free to let me know or not. I always bid whatever it is that I value a domain name at. So it's never, doesn't really ever bother me if I bid against anybody. So, but I do like things to be in the hands of developers. So if you're going to develop it, heck, honestly, if you see one of these domains that you're going to develop, I might buy it for you as long as you're going to develop it. So, we'll work out some partnership thing. Just give Drew a little taste. Give me a little taste. Okay, I'm browsing back over the chat here. Oh yeah. Lee had mentioned over on Twitter that his mouse hates the mouse cursor. They always go after the mouse cursor, so let's give him something to chase here. Come on, Lee's cats. Oh. Sorry, Lee. I hope I didn't destroy your screen there. It's too much fun. Okay, every domain name. Yeah, and that's exactly right. Every domain name I buy, I think I'm going to build, which is why I'm 100% trying to get a little more. I'm a much more disciplined buyer of domain names now than what I used to be. Honestly, if it wasn't for this show and me looking through more domains, I would buy a lot less domain names. And yeah, Matt's asking for the recap. I guess that's an important thing to do. So let me browse back over the. So there at the end, we found the one-word keyword domain name, overreaction.com. That one is one of the domains we found. More of a probably marketing play, and what I mean by that is you could sell this to a company, or a company could use this as part of a marketing campaign, like overreaction. Like if I'm trying to think of an example of a company that any company that wants to produce an overreaction or use an overreaction as a market. It's like maybe Publishers Clearinghouse. Remember them? And they always showed people like, oh my God, I won Publishers Clearinghouse. And they showed a giant check and stuff. Well, they might want to do something with overreaction.com or something like that and use it as part of their marketing and, do a TV campaign, overreaction.com, boom. Which on that front, on that idea, I was in Las Vegas last week, and I'll continue the summary here in a second. But I was in Las Vegas last week, and you see these billboards all over the place. And these billboards cost thousands of dollars a month to put up. And it is shocking. It is shocking how many of them had horrible domain names on them. They pay thousands a month for a billboard, but then they don't bother to get a good domain name that is like memorable or easy to type in. In most cases, they put a freaking phone number on their billboard that you have to take a photo of or something. Absolutely insane. Even overreaction.com, put that on your billboard. You're paying thousands for this billboard, and then you're not even giving your audience, the viewers, a good path to contact you. Anyhow, I don't get it sometimes. Okay, well, that's overreaction was the first one. Continuing the summary, we have dogstores.com, which ended up having huge traffic searches for it. Really shocking. $45 ends in 4 days. Servicecontracts.com, which I enjoy as an idea of, service contracts. Maybe this is a SaaS tool even. Maybe it's a way for you to keep your service contracts ordered and know who you have service contracts with. Lots of different ways you can use this domain name, and or just have local businesses that have service or can be put on a service contract on the domain name. And now that I think of that, that's even makes it a better domain. Ends in 5 days, $127 currently. Analyticscompanies.com, $25, ends in 2 days if you're into the data thing. And then finally, autoaccessories.com, over $5,000 currently, ends in 2 days. So that one's going to be the big money option this week. If you're just sitting on a bunch of money and just hey, I want to buy some auto accessories. The word accessories is really tough to spell though, right? So there you go. Well, that's pretty much it. That's a summary that we have for this week, September 28th. Weird. It's the end of the month. That's crazy. End of the month, yet it's the 28th day. Calendar. Well, I appreciate everybody coming around. This is Domain to Profit. I'm Drew Wash. Find me over on Twitter at Drew Wash. Just wash, wash your hands, and talk domains. And about every fifth tweet maybe is NFTs. Apologize for that, but I'm a digital geek. I think domains and NFTs do go together pretty well as well. So, and I have no idea. September. I have no idea what you mean by that, Matt. And oh yeah, I actually, you mentioned the calendar on the site. So there is a free calendar, the performancecalendar.com. If you go to that, there's a free template. And I noticed on that calendar the weekends they're supposed to be gray. They're incorrect. And yeah, so I have an updated calendar. I just haven't uploaded it yet. But the one that's out there is really good as well. Oh, I said September. Okay, yeah, September's my anniversary. It's also a month I travel quite a bit, so I like September. It's the calm before the storm. Okay, anyhow, well, I appreciate you all coming out, hanging out with me for a while. If you have not already, make sure you like the video and subscribe to the channel. Someday I'll go live impromptu again, and when I do that, you want to make sure that you subscribed, otherwise you'll miss out on that. If I go live impromptu, it is because I found something amazing and want to share it right then, and only the subscribers get that. So make sure you subscribe and like. Thank you for hanging out in the chat with us. I will see you back here next week, Monday, 3 p.m. I'm Drew Wash's Domain to Profit. See you then.